The Dungeon Master Experience is a series of articles written by Chris Perkins in Dungeon Magazine in 2011. The following readings are his words, and though produced before the current edition, still contains great insights, advice, and tips for Dungeon Masters for any edition, and for that matter, any TTRPG. Lies My DM Told Me, 9/8/2011. Monday night. Trouble on the high seas. Mind flayers are attacking coastal settlements and ships, and the adventurers are preparing to assault an Illithid Nautilus, a ship of mind flayers, to rescue the prisoner aboard. Imazia, an NPC dragonborn priest of Bahamut, who receives prophetic dreams, offers to cast a ritual on the characters to grant them resistance to psychic damage. Players readily accept the gift before teleporting aboard the Nautilus, knowing they have their work cut out for them. Aboard the enemy vessel, the heroes find themselves taking a lot more psychic damage from the Mind Flayers' attacks than expected. Something is clearly amiss, and it doesn't take a wizard to realize Imazia has lied to them. Her ritual has actually made them more vulnerable to psychic damage, not more resistant. I lie to my players all the time, or rather, my NPCs do. I never lie to my players out of game. In my role as DM, I'm always honest, lest the players walk away from the game table with frustration and never return. But, in game, I like to feed my players a tasty mix of true and false information. It adds to the campaign's realistic texture. Imazia, the Dragonborn priest, is a special kind of villain. The one who pretends to be helpful until the evil far realm entities in her head set out to confound and destroy the adventurers. Early in the campaign, Imazia died aboard an exploding ship and was raised from the dead by her fellow priests. The players saw her as a casualty of a villainous plot, unaware that the villains who sabotaged the ship were actually doing them a favor by taking Imazia out. After returning from the dead, Imazia became one of the heroes' most trusted advisors, using her dreams to guide their actions and steer them away from the monstrous threat posed by the Mind Flayers. By the time the threat became too great to ignore, the heroes trusted Imazia more than most other NPCs in the campaign. Surely a psychic priest of Bahamut who died and come back from the dead would never deceive them. In the real world, people speak untruths for many different reasons. Maybe they believe what they're saying is true. Maybe they are lying because they're in denial and can't face the truth. Maybe they're hiding the truth to protect someone or something. Maybe they're lying out of guilt and fear of discovery. Or maybe they're lying for the cheap thrill, just to screw with you. The less than honest NPCs in my campaign deceive for all of these reasons, to the point where my players must constantly judge the words against what they know about the individual speaking them. It makes for some very interesting role-playing, let me tell you. In addition to the myriad reasons for not telling the truth, there are good liars and bad liars. My campaign has both. Imazia is an example of a good liar, and it doesn't hurt that her words are bolstered by a priestly demeanor and the holy symbol of Bahamut hanging around her neck. I try to limit the number of really good NPC liars in my campaign to a handful, since it takes time for players to hack through the web of lies, and frankly, too much of a good thing can be a bad thing. On the other hand, my campaign has no shortage of bad liars, and in some respects, they're more fun. The players don't have to work nearly as hard to cut to the truth, and a bad liar makes for a great comedy. Feeding false information to player characters is something that's been part of D&D since the early days of the game. Old adventures such as Module L1, The Secret of Bone Hill, had those marvelous rumor tables that encouraged you to roll dice to determine which rumors the characters knew. Some of the rumors were true, some false. I once ran a Module L1 for some middle school friends who learned via the rumor table that the Baron of Restonford was chaotic evil, so they decided to attack the Baron's castle. Never mind that the Baron was actually chaotic good. They stormed the keep and slaughtered the guards, executed the Baron and his family, and made off with some fine suits of armor and tapestries. Peltar, the Baron's wizard, finally set them straight. The damage had been done. Decided to use the misunderstanding as a springboard for a follow-up adventure in which the heroes tracked down the source of the false rumor and discovered an evil thieves guild seeking to gain a foothold in Restenford. In hindsight, that was a pretty clever idea for a 15-year-old. In the intervening 25 years, I've become quite the practiced liar. Whenever the characters arrive in a new village, town, or city, I pepper them with local rumors, some true, some false. As any practiced liar knows, secret to adding rich layers to any D&D campaign is the aforementioned happy blend of truth and deception. If all of my NPCs lied to my players all the time, that wouldn't be a fun experience for anyone. Similarly, if the NPCs told the truth constantly, the players would take everything, including my campaign, at face value. In the real world, drama is natural outcome of humans trying to ascertain what's true and what's false, and the emotions and confusion that come when humans are dishonest with one another. Why would the drama of my campaign be any different? Lessons learned. I love the role-playing opportunities that arise when players attempt to deceive monsters and NPCs in my campaign, and as they say, turnabout is fair play. When it comes right down to it, there are basically two kinds of untruths. Your NPCs can tell the player characters deliberate deceptions or unintentional misinformation. When in doubt, tell the players things that are true. Even the old D&D adventures tended to have more true rumors than false ones. Players don't like to be constantly deceived any more than they enjoy swimming in shark-infested waters. However, when the time comes to deceive them, don't let your evil NPCs have all the fun. Even good unaligned NPCs have reasons to lie. Your campaign world is full of shamefully misinformed benefactors, inveigling politicians and court jesters, and good people who harbor dark secrets. Basically, you need to ask yourself, why would the NPC say something untrue? If the NPC has anything to gain from deceiving the heroes, then you have just cause to lie on that NPC's behalf. However, in some respects, unintentional misinformation is the more interesting way to go, since the characters are dealing with an NPC who is sincere and therefore harder to threaten with violence. Recently in my Monday night game, 2 characters were killed by a Death Knight wielding a soul-draining sword. An evil-aligned NPC named Osterneth said she had the means to free the souls trapped within the blade, and in the process of trying to set them free, accidentally destroyed the sword and souls contained within. Some of the players felt confident enough in their characters' high insight checks to believe Osterneth was being sincere. She truly was. The lesson: even the DM's all-knowing, all-powerful NPCs make mistakes sometimes, and it's harder for players to justify killing an NPC who speaks honestly. Let's take a little test, shall we, using another example from my Monday night campaign. In the world of Iamandra, wood is rare and highly prized for shipbuilding. Talia Winterleaf, whose father owns a wood trading consortium called the Winterleaf Coster, has bribed a clan of frost giants into attacking an iron mine owned by the Iron-Star Cartel, a rival consortium. Talia did so in order to prevent the cartel from finishing a prototype iron ship that it hopes will impress the Dragovar Empire enough to win a lucrative shipbuilding contract. The heroes learn of the plot, confront Talia, and threaten to take down the Winterleaf Coster unless she pulls the giants out of the mine. Talia does as they wish and promises not to interfere with the cartel shipbuilding operation any further. Also worth noting, a minor complication that works in the party's favor. Talia has genuine feelings for Kith Valar, the party's elf ranger, played by Jeff Alvarez. The question is Talia lying? The jury is still out, but in this case, my instinct is to say no, she's speaking the truth. The players already have sufficient cause to believe she's dishonest, thus it's more surprising that Talia will be true to her word. Also, her feelings for Kith Valar help to tip the scale in the party's favor, and her fondness for the elf ranger would realistically impact her decision. But don't worry, I haven't gone soft. Talia can't speak for her father or the rest of the Winterleaf Coster, who will no doubt continue to make the players' eyes roll with their sinister business practices. Next week, we discuss what to do when a character dies suddenly, leaves behind untold stories and unfinished business. The campaign marches on, but will it ever be the same? Until the next encounter. Also, don't forget to follow the link in the description to pick up my first ever adventure and setting for free on Patreon and DriveThruRPG now. Dive into the desert region of Gondolar as adventurers making their way to the budding city town of Silt Pass in search of gold, glory, and answers to the secrets of a long-lost empire. In this first adventure, your heroes will defend the Dune Dancer, a sandcutter airship from a legendary group of bandits known as the Stormbringers. Do you have what it takes to stop the Stormbringers and their bombastic leader Tharok, or will you make a deal with the devil of the sands and join them? Decide your destiny in the first of 6 adventures. TSI, Tharok, Stormbringer, Ironmane.